Hello. Oh, I cracked myself up. Hey, I'm going from one thing to the other. Coaching, consulting, all the things. Consulting, is that what I use it? Consultation, same thing. Good morning. Good morning. I'm sounding a little bit froggy. Interesting. I wonder if it's the pollen in the air. I swear to God, I thought I heard somebody's lawnmower. I think it's a motorcycle going by. But good morning. Hey, I know it's early. I know it's early, but sometimes those of us who are early birds get up early, and sometimes we like to scroll on TikTok. And maybe you're up puttering around the house. I love puttering. Good morning. If we haven't met before, I see Becky and Grammy and Sandy and Jack and Wheezy and Lulu, Plant Mom, and yeah, and Lauren and Mario and Mario. Listen, there's my Boston accent. The first example of it this morning. Okay, so hey, good morning. Beth, Destination Decluttered, Decluttering Life Coach, at your service. What is it? Tuesday morning, May 7th. Oh my gosh, we're already. I remember last week I was like, I can't believe it's May. We are already now 1 week into May, and I'm here to touch base with you and your clutter, your journey, your road trip towards Destination Decluttered. How are you doing? How's it going? Are you making good progress? Are you having fun doing it? Are you treating it like a road trip? Or does it feel more like a commute? Are you stuck on the side of the road? Do you even have a map? Do you know where you're going? And all those things in between. Now, this is what I do. I help clients. Here, let me just adjust that a little bit. There we go. I help one-on-one clients with this throughout the week, but I also show up and do these TikTok lives to just give you a taste of what a little encouragement and a little, I don't know, even just quieting down what I like to call the backseat drivers. The backseat drivers are those voices in your head that are constantly chattering. You can't do it. Note that this is me trying to pretend like they're in the back, like I'm driving the car because you're driving your car. And in the back, you can't do that. Don't do that. That's going to be hard. No, don't do that. That may change something. I don't want you to do that. Let's go through the McDonald's drive-thru and get chicken nuggets just for the rest of our lives. Let's not do anything different. Let's just go through the drive-thru, even though there's a whole world out there that we want to get to. We want to go to that shiny diner that serves pancakes at the counter, breakfast all day. No, I'm afraid to do that, so I'm just going to stay in the McDonald's drive-thru line over and over. So I say that because I've been there. I know. I was like that for a wicked long time, and I still probably have those tendencies, but I'm so much better than I used to be. And if you're interested in changing the way your home looks and functions and feels, I can help you with that. Becky is saying, got one box of photos out yesterday to start to sort. Chunk it down, just one. I love it, Becky. Even getting the box out to sort is a great start. Then it's going to be the next step, and the next step. It's like a road trip. I got the box out. I put it on ideally probably a somewhat clear surface so I could start to make piles. I could organize. I could sort through what I have. Because as I like to say, first of all, it's funny because I always say you got to do this before you do that. You got to sort it before you store it. You don't got to do anything. I just give you these ideas that if you want to, this is an approach you can take, right? So going through your photos. You're going to find different photos from different eras. The fun thing is with photos, you'll maybe notice that they've changed different ways of the paper sizes. They used to have like the little square black and whites, and then they had the square other ones, and then maybe they had the rectangles, and then they had the curved edges, and then they had the little pebbly ones. They had the little pebbly surface from the ones from the 70s. Things like that. So categorizing your stuff, sorting your photos, sorting out anything, and making piles of like items is the way to start. And I love doing that. It's kind of, as I like to say, it's kind of creating order out of chaos. You've got a junk drawer, right? You dump out the stuff from the junk drawer, and not everything, just like, not all the drawers, but one drawer, you dump it out, and then you might notice themes. You might notice that you have a number of pencils or a number of writing implements. You may have a number of pairs of scissors. Maybe you've got a bunch of coupons. You're probably going to notice some sort of repetition in what a thing is. And when you do that, then you can make a decision about, do I need all of these? Kind of what I like to say, the quantity and the quality of the stuff. Do I really need all of these? You know, like right here, right? I've got my highlighters. Do I need all of these? Yes, I do, because each one of them is a different color. Technically, I have 2 that are yellow, but also I'm like, I use them interchangeably. It's just one more, so I'm going to use one until I use one of them hoping that it's going to run out, and then I'll use the other. Making the decision of, do I feel good about the quantity of these? Do I like the quality of these? How are they working? Is this knife in my knife box? I've got 14, well, let's use spatulas because knives are a little bit stabby, right? Spatulas, I'm always about the spatulas. Do I need 14 spatulas? Do they all work well? Do they all spatule? And then just listening to your stories about them, because you always are picking the good stuff. When I go to pick a pen, I'm always going to pick the one that writes the nicest. When I go to pick some clothes to put on, I'm going to put on the clothes. I'm going to pick the clothes that feel good and are easy to put on, and I feel like I feel good and I look good in them. You're always grabbing for the things that are your idea of what the best are, and you're leaving the other ones for another time. That other stuff for the other time is pretty much the clutter. The clutter isn't the stuff that makes your life easier or the stuff you love. Clutter is the stuff that you don't really love and doesn't necessarily make your life easier, even just in the sheer volume of the stuff you have in your house. Sometimes we think that too much, we think that a lot of stuff, well, if a little is good, a lot can be better. Now, not just clutter, drinks, food, I'm sure there's other things, but I think of that conspicuous consumption. And what you find is, pardon me, that was a little bit behind the scenes. What you're going to find is that you have an idea of, oh, this feels good. Well, if this feels good, more might feel better, but sometimes more just creates its own problems. You feel too much. You feel suffocated. You feel over your head, overwhelmed, drowning in stuff. You went from your kind of bopping around kind of set point, oh, this feels good, and you're just a little bit out of whack with too many things, So just think about those things. And then when you think about it, you can do something about it. Okay? Now I do this, I help you. So if you have a question specifically, clutter question in here, pop it in there. If I see it and read it, I can respond to it. And I also work with one-on-one clients because trust me, I think one of the wonderful things I can share with you is that you are not alone in struggling with the clutter in your house. Man, I think so many of us do because of the way, and especially I tend to come from, big surprise, I come from a United States perspective, somebody who lives in the United States. And so I look back on our history in the last 100 years, and I can totally see kind of red flags as to why we all are here in the year 2424, in the year 2424, in the year 2024, and why so many of us are of an age and our houses are full. We live in a consumerist society. We live in a society that says, here, buy something to solve your problem. We also, talk about shopping as a recreational activity. Shopping and buying things and keeping things is a way of showing that we have money to buy stuff with, trying to keep up with the Joneses. There are so many external reasons that we have, societal reasons why we may have too much stuff. Jolene Worth is asking tips for the buying side. Okay, think about quality and quantity. Think about what you're buying and why you're buying it. Do you already have something at home before you buy something new? When I say new, like new to you. Before you go out and buy something, I used to shop so much more than I do now. I really just shop now basically to solve problems. So if I need a dress for a graduation and I have nothing in my closet that is appropriate, because I have a lot of tiki dresses and stuff, maybe I don't have something that's appropriate for a certain thing, then I will go looking for that specific thing. But I will always go to see what I have first. Excuse me, I get a tickle in my throat. I suggested this on a TikTok live, I don't know, yesterday, because I do these almost every day at this point. And what I want to offer is go shopping in your house before you go shopping outside. Do you have something in your house? Can you find something in your house that will do what you want it to? You know, you might have something that you don't need to go buy something at all. But then also think of the quantity of items. Do I really need this? What if I buy this and it doesn't work out? How will I feel it? You know? One Taya, are you an Oscar or Felix? Are you a, oh man, there's a song lyric right there. Are you a fox or a hedgehog? That's what I was thinking. I'm both Oscar and Felix. I am. I think we all are. I think we see Oscar and Felix. Do 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 do. Come on, people. Didn't you grow up watching reruns of 60s, sitcoms when you were a kid, growing up in the 70s? I know I did. We're all a combination of Oscar and Felix. Because Felix feels better when things are neat and tidy. First I go for the ones, then I go for the twos. No, you got to be bold, innovate. I'd rather be neat. Remember they did that Challenge Yahtzee commercial? That lives on in my head. I don't know where it is, But notice how the quality and quantity of things depends on everybody. Like what may seem cluttered to me is okay for you. What may seem okay for me may be cluttered to you. May seem just right for somebody else may seem minimalist. We all have our own level of comfort with stuff. When you're starting to feel uncomfortable, when you're not comfortable in your own home, when there's no comfort, that's when you start to look at, well, what's the quantity and quality of the stuff I have? And probably decreasing it might help. Kia, good, nice to see you. Happy my decluttering went well. Yeah, my decluttering went well. I'm still kind of recovering from it. It was a lot physically. I mean, I was there hunched over in the attic, making decisions, going up and down those stairs and then the other stairs. And here's the funny thing. I live in a house that it only has stairs down the basement. I live in a ranch, so it's all on one level. I am not used to going up and down the stairs like I used to when I was a kid. But I feel really good about what I did. And when I go back to do more decluttering, I will have so much less clutter to deal with. It's good. So every time you show up and declutter, I want you to think about that. So every time you show up to declutter, the next time you show up, you'll have less to deal with. I notice this when I go to my mother's house, that the dining room used to be like extremely bad, and then I would wait a while. And now every time I go, it's a little bit more tidy and a little bit more tidy, normally because I do the tidying. But no matter, I'm happy to do it. And it's a great feeling. And I know it helps my mom focus on stuff when she has less things that are all kind of talking at her at the same time. I was on a call recently with a client, and she was talking about walking through her house and things nagging at her. Does your stuff talk to you? Does it nag at you? Hey, don't forget to buy milk. Hey, put that light bulb in the thing. Don't forget to do this. Remember, put this thing away. I'm putting this here to remind myself. So your stuff may talk to you. Listen to what it says, and then you'll have more of an idea of what to do to make it nice and quiet in your house. I love it. I can walk through my house now, and the only thing I hear is, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh, I should probably dust. Oh, maybe we should vacuum. Love it. Not, oh my gosh, we have to repair this, and I need to go through that. I mean, I technically do have some snow domes that I need to dust, but I only half of my collection, Okay. Kind Heart is saying, I'm moving out of my state about 1,000 miles away, but I'm still struggling with letting go of the furniture. Okay. Now it's kind of slow this morning, so let me just ask you this, and you can ask this of yourself. I always say, ask the question of yourself. If you want to put the comment in what comes up in the comments, you can, but ask yourself why you're struggling. And what I want to give you a clue on is to think about leading with fear. Fear is the thing, fear is the feeling that keeps you stuck and fearful and clinging on to stuff. Struggle is in fear. I'm struggling. I'm afraid that. So let me ask you, Kind Heart, when you move, you're moving away, what are you afraid is going to happen if you let go of the furniture? Because there's a struggle there, a push me, pull you. Are you afraid that where you go, they won't have furniture? Are you afraid that you won't find furniture you like? Are you afraid that when you go to buy furniture in the new place, it might be expensive? Just a few ideas. I don't know. You only know you, but what I suggest to everybody is start to ask yourself why you're holding on to these things. Don't do it in a judgy way, though. Get the balance right. Get your nervous system feeling safe and comfortable so you can have those conversations with yourself. Because if you're being judgy, judginess is going to shut you down. It's like anybody else in your house, in your life, being judgy, that's not going to get them, you're going to shut down. When somebody's judging you, you're going to protect yourself from judgment. But instead of being judgy, ask yourself the question with the same words but a different tone. Instead of being judgy, get curious. Why are you keeping all that furniture? That's judgy. Curious is, hey, why are you keeping all the furniture? I don't know. You tell me. I'm not judging. I'm just curious. Notice how the way you talk to yourself can open yourself up to hear the answers. And I say hear the answers like my hand is going to my ear, which is attached to my head. And we think that our answers are up here, but our answers are also down here. We think it's all in our head. It is, but it's also in our heart. What I call, your nervous system. And that's where feelings live. Your thoughts live up here, your feelings live down here. When these two are in a struggle, that's when you're stuck with clutter. When they're both on the same page and are both in agreement, man, that's when your life changes. Okay? Not finding the same pieces in money. Okay. So, knowing that, is there a way you can move the items that you have? Is there a way you could sell the items you have so you have some money to put towards that? Now, I know myself, if we moved here, I'm at a point where there are some furniture things I would pay to move. Or I would find a way to do it. I say pay to move, but I would make a way that like that couch and that bookcase. But there are other ones that I could conceivably let go of if I thought I could find other ones. We have a lot of IKEA furniture in our house. So I could be like, okay, no big deal. I can let that one go because we can get another one at IKEA where we move. But notice that fear of not finding the same pieces. Fear that when I go to replace it, it's going to cost money. Now, this is where everybody's story is unique because I don't know what pieces you have and I don't know what how much they cost and I don't know how much, there's so many other variables into play. But I just want you to think about that one example is asking yourself the question in a nice, kind way and hearing the answer. I'm afraid that I'm not going to find the same pieces. I have a fear that's hanging, struggling, and fear of money. So fear is, again, we talked about judginess, and then the opposite is curiosity. Fear is on the one hand, it's keeping you stuck and holding on to stuff. Love, trust, belief, good vibes is on the other hand. I'm going to trust that if I leave this furniture behind, that when I move to my new place, I'm going to find a couch that is equal or better than the one that I have. That may make you feel better about releasing the couch you do have. Think about a different way that you're getting the specifics of the thoughts in your head that are making you feel this feeling, and you're rewriting that thought into a more helpful thought. That's kind of how coaching works in my mind and in my mind and in my practice, because I coach all the time. That is really the conversations up here and in here with yourself and giving yourself the opportunity to have those conversations. Not just, oh, whatever, it's too external. Shh, quiet down. Here's the great thing. So I use the car and driver metaphor a lot, driving rear view mirror and all that, and, running out of gas and I hit a roadblock. I mean, we use this language all the time. Again, we live in America. We are such a car-based society, so why not use a language we're already familiar with? But the other thing, too, is you can take your car and you can drive somewhere else. So if your life is chaotic, you could take your car and drive it and park it somewhere, lock the doors, and have a nice zen and quiet. Turn off the radio, pull out your notebook, and start writing stuff down about what you want in your life and how you want your home to look and how you want it to function. So you can get away from the chaos to make a plan, get things nice and quiet, calm down your nervous system. Nobody else is bugging you. There's no distractions. And then you can go back and then you have a plan. You say, I'm starting here on the map and I want to go here. This little heart is like the destination decluttered. I want to be decluttered, but I'm right here. What do? Treat it like a road trip. Have some fun. Categorize. Go for a treasure hunt. Oh my gosh, the treasures I found, there was a lot of wheat. I will say this. That was kind of one of the things that made it easy to have a lot of stuff going out to the dump and to the recycles, which was at the dump this weekend when I was up in the attic of the house that I grew up in, is that there was a lot of stuff up there. My dad had kept a lot of stuff because he was in a paper. My dad was he was happily what they would call a Luddite. Okay, a Luddite means he had no interest in modern technology. He was good. He had his like what do you call it, like a checkbook with the 3 checks in it, and he always used a blue pen, the same blue pen, and he kept too many papers because he definitely never made the leap to the digital world. He also thought, maybe I'll read this book someday. Maybe I will reread these 80 million copies of Field and Stream that are up here. Maybe I will want the documentation in triplicate. I mean, I literally found a stack of this many of my dad's resume from like 1972. Now, the man lived into the 21st century, but somewhere he was like, oh, maybe I'll use this someday. Or I spent a lot of money getting those printed up. Maybe I'll flip them over and use the backside. We all have stories in our head that cause us to hold on to things. What decluttering gives you the opportunity to do is almost just revisit those stories from the past that caused you to hold on to it then, and just say, okay, that was then. The ABC song, that was then. This is now. Okay? And that was then, this is now. Does that decision that I made 10, 15, 20 years ago still make sense to me today? Good morning, Erin. I bet you're not drinking tea. I bet you're drinking coffee. I didn't get some tea. I've got some water. I got to hydrate. But nice to see you. But just giving yourself the opportunity to say, oh yeah, like I was kind of living my 2024 life based on decisions that I made in 19 something or 2020, or even more so 2020 or before. So checking in with yourself and saying, does this even make sense to me anymore? Because maybe I've changed. Maybe I want to change, you know? Okay, Sheila, Chatty Cathy, I love this because your question or your statement can help other people. So Sheila is saying, I want to declutter, but physically am limited. That's totally okay. You know why? Clutter, the last part of the decluttering process is when you're moving stuff physically. The decluttering begins up in your head and in your heart. So you may be physically limited, but mentally, if you have energy and you have your heart and your head are with you, then you can make decisions about your stuff. You can decide, and that's a lot of what decluttering is practicing making decisions that get you to the life you want. And so you may not be able to do the physical stuff, but here's the fun thing. When you make the decisions about what stays and what goes, then you could seriously boss around somebody else and say, pick that up, move it, tote that barge, lift that bale, that goes in the trash, take that away, put that in the basement. You could tell somebody else what to do physically. But notice everybody, Sheila, everybody. Decluttering is a thought process, and the way I coach it involves your head and your heart. Because you want to feel good about what you're doing. You don't want to have regrets about letting go of things in a nervous system frenzy. I'm just going to pitch it all, and then you're going to be like, oh man, I can't believe I threw away those family photos. Okay? Okay, interesting. So Number says, I know I have all of my grandparents' and great-grandparents' house in my garage. Yeah, that can be a lot. Now, maybe you like having their stuff. If it feels good, I'm not going to change it, but notice that their stuff is in your garage. It can be an emotional weight to feel like you have to take care of somebody else's stuff. But what I want to even just plant this idea, or here's a seed to plant. Here's something to think about, is just because you loved those people, just because you were related to them, doesn't mean you need to keep their stuff. It doesn't. If you want to keep it, if it makes your life feel good and feel better to keep that stuff, by all means keep it. But you are under no obligation except the obligation that you put on yourself to keep that stuff. Think of how many antique stores around the country there are filled with other people's stuff. Now, if you want to keep it, that's fine, but notice the decision making. You're saying, do I want this or not? If I want it, if I want this item to live on in the family tree, maybe I will keep it. But I will say, you can also, just because you loved them doesn't mean you need to keep them. And also, it doesn't mean you don't love them if you don't love their stuff. If you loved their stuff, you might have it in your house, not in your garage. Okay? Okay, 2-car garage completely full. It smells like the house in there. I tried going through the boxes. Okay. All right, so it sounds like you've got a lot. What I want to say, number, if you've only got yourself, you get to make the decisions. It's your house. What do you want your house to smell like? What do you want your house to look like? Do you want any of those items of your grandparents and your parents and your great-grandparents? Do you want any of their stuff in your house? And let me tell you, the answer can be no. Now that may seem blasphemous to some people. Oh my God, no, that's an antique. That was so-and-so's. To me, what's more important is not the stuff, but how you feel. And if the stuff you have in your home and in your 2-car garage is making you feel heavy or weighted down or just not so good, I say do something about that, because that's affecting your life. The thing that your grandparents and great-grandparents don't have is life. They're not here living. You're living. Make the most of the life you have. And if that means releasing some old antiques to someplace else so you can feel better and you can breathe in your house and not have it smell like their house, that to me, that's why I got into decluttering coaching, because I know it feels better when I have less stuff in my house. I know it feels better to me when I look around and I love the things in my house. Did my grandparents did my grandparents have antiques? Yeah, but they liked those things. I don't like them. And that's okay. I can have a different taste and style from where I grew up. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. But knowing what you want makes it easier to get it. Okay? Yeah. It can be hard, and there's emotions involved in all of it, but there's also emotions involved in not dealing with it. The heaviness, the obligation, the weight, the frustration. Okay? Yeah, you need to get it done. If you're a minimalist, yes, then you know what? You don't even have room for it all. Get some help with it. Now, maybe my coaching is what you need, and I'm a one-on-one coach, and we could work together. I work on Zoom, so I don't know what state you're in. I'm in Pennsylvania, but I don't even work with people in physically whatever. I have clients all over the country. So I work on a 10-session package, an hour a day, or an hour a week for 10 weeks in a row, or 20 or 30. I have some clients that are on their 4th package, things like that. Maybe that's what you need. Maybe also, seriously, and somebody mentioned this up thread, is maybe you need physical help with this stuff. Maybe you've made the decisions and you need some help moving, toting the barges and lifting the bales. That's another kind of help that you can get. There's all sorts of help with your struggling with clutter. There are so many people out there who are ready and willing to help. We're just waiting for you to say yes to yourself, to yes, I need some help, to that's okay that I can't do this alone, that my life is worth me taking the time and the money, probably, to get some help to get this clutter out of my house, my life, because I want to be a minimalist. Okay? 574 brings up a really good point, saying, I wish, or S74, got my glasses on. I wish there were a way to remove the emotions from our stuff. Everything holds sentimental value. Yeah, it may, but you can remove it. You can lessen the emotional impact of the stuff. Now, here's a perfect example I will offer to you. I was in the attic of the house I grew up in over this weekend. I was dealing 99.9% of the stuff that was up there was my dad's. Now, my dad has been gone for 13 years now. Even without seeing all that stuff and touching all that stuff in the attic, I don't forget my dad. I remember him. The emotion lives on in me, not in the thing. The thing reminds me of him, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't live on in my heart. The sentimentality is in you. It's not in the thing. The thing is just a thing. The thing is just a book. The thing is just a photograph. The thing is just a letter to the editor he wrote and then kept it in triplicate. The thing is just, a shirt. The thing is a thing. It came from a factory. Somebody made it. It had no meaning until you gave it meaning. And since you gave it meaning, you can also extract the meaning and bring it back to you. In order to do that, though, you're going to need to feel some feelings, and some people are uncomfortable with that. So know that the feeling of the feelings, it means you're human. You're not a robot, okay? And I bet there's some stuff that has a variety of sentimental value. I will say there were a few handful of items that I was when I was going through my dad's stuff, and I was like, oh, this is a keeper. Oh my gosh, this is a picture of a dog that he drew when he was 11 years old. I'm keeping that to show my sisters and my mom. The 17 copies of Field and Stream in the Orvis catalog from 1985, nah, not so much. They both were held by my dad. They both had dad meaning, but one had a much deeper meaning than the one that was kind of just surface clutter. Keeping the stuff that has the true meaning, and then releasing the things that are of a lesser level. It's a process. And once you go through it and you realize it doesn't hurt as much as you think it's going to be easier to show up. Okay? Okay, Ellen Bowley, you bring up a really good point. Elle saying, how do I handle kids' artwork and schoolwork? Now, this is funny. Then she says, they are 28 and 26. They are 28 and 26. I can't part with it. Now, I need to be a little bit of a Nancy Drew when I do these TikTok lives, because I only get the things that you're sending, the words you're sending me. Notice that you are the one that are struggling with parting with it. Even though up here your kids, like literally in the world, they're almost 30, you're having a hard time releasing them. Get in touch with your feelings. Get in touch with your feelings. Oh, listen to me, I'm all like 70s and, therapy. But notice the story you have about why you kept those. I bet there are emotions attached to those kids' artwork and schoolwork. They make you remind you of when they weren't 28 and 26. They remind you of when they were 8 and 6 or 18 and 16. And now years are passing, and the time passing makes us feel feels. We may have fewer years ahead of us than we do behind us. So notice your struggle to part with it and pay attention to that. And it's okay to feel feelings. It's okay to feel emotion when people that never existed in the world and then were babies and now we're growing up are freaking graduating high school and graduating college and almost 30. It's okay to feel those feelings. Feel the feelings. I assume that's why you saved them. But then say, do I want these or not? If you want to keep them and feel those feelings, that's totally within your right. You get to keep whatever you want. But if part of you is like, no, I don't want these anymore, that's also okay. It doesn't mean you don't love your children. You could ask them if they want them. If they say no, no big deal. You could also, I like this idea. I think it would be fun. This is just me. If I had kids and they had stuff that I had saved, I'd say, hey, I know you guys don't want these, but humor me. Come over my house one day, and I want us to walk down memory lane and go through these things together. I want you to tell me the stories of this artwork. I want you, let's talk about this and have some memory exchanging. Let's create a new memory based on this stuff. And then after we look at it and we say that, then we can put it in the recycle bin, and we're both okay with that. Okay? So notice you're going to feel feelings. That's okay. You're allowed to. You're a human. I love it. Mariah Smithton says, it helps me to schedule 1 or 2 boxes per week. Yeah, chunking it down. Feeling feelings all the time can be exhausting. So you need to feel the feelings, and then you need to bank in and schedule time to recover. That's why I'm glad I'm back at my own house now. I have a couple of bags of stuff that I brought that I need to sort through, but I'm going to wait until I feel ready to do it. And I'm going to do it because I know it's not that bad once I open the bag, right? Okay. If you think something's daunting, you're not going to do it. If you think it's going to be easy, you're going to be more likely to show up and do it. Notice the words you use and how to make yourself feel. Okay? Ha, Swanee700. Hey, nice to hear from you. Swanee700 says, I was in the same situation. I worked with Beth last summer and got rid of most of it. I remember that, yeah. And I love it because I've worked with a lot of teachers, and I will kind of plant a seed, even if you're not a teacher, is I coach throughout the year. I coach throughout the summer. Now, initially, I didn't coach in the summer because I thought everybody's on vacation. Why would they want to declutter? And then I realized sometimes the summer is where you have a nice change of schedule. Maybe you've got Fridays off from work. Maybe you have the entire summer off. Maybe the summer is the perfect time for you to declutter. So I make myself available for when you're ready, when it's easy for you to declutter. Now, of course, why do I say of course? But for me, the summer is also one of my favorite seasons, the spring and summer. So I have some travel scheduled, but I work, oh my God, I am probably, according to some people, I may be too flexible in my scheduling. That's okay. I don't care what they say. I like to be flexible. So I work around your schedule. You work around my schedule. We get stuff done. We don't use our schedules as an excuse not to move forward. I work with you, not against you. We're both working for that. So in the summer, I'm just planting a seed. If you're like, oh, I'm too busy right now, but during the summer, I really got to clean out the attic or the basement or the garage or those things, I can help you through that, much like I helped Swanee 700, and I hope you're well. Okay. All right. Interesting thing. Okay. Okay. Notice number is saying, I feel I need to go through it all as fast as possible once I start. It's very emotional. Trying to race through the emotions. Okay, you are the driver. You can pick the pace that you move forward with it. So if it makes sense to you to go through it fast, by all means, if that's going to get you the result you want, I'm not going to say slow down, but I'm just going to say move at a pace that feels right to you. So if going through it fast, yeah. And do it in a way that feels right to you. Yeah. All right, I love this. Some people are putting the, ooh, yeah, okay. I love it. Yeah, Erin is chopping, then kept it in triplicate. I'm not kidding. So my dad wrote a letter to the editor that was literally, I saw his handwritten version, and then I saw a typewritten version, and then I saw another typewritten version, and then I wouldn't be surprised if he was more organized. He probably would have had it where it was printed out. But that was my dad. Oh my gosh. I always thought that I got a lot of my ADHD and doom bags and saving too much from my mother. I got it from both sides of the family. I learned so much about myself when I was up in the attic, going through the stuff that my dad did. He was very methodical about certain things, and he kept certain things. I grew up like that. I had more stuff collected by the time I was 18 and 21 and in my 20s, because that's how I grew up. I thought that's how you did things. Thank goodness I learned a different thing. Thank goodness, because I love the amount of stuff that's in my house. Sure, I get stuff in my basement I need to take care of, but it's like this. And I'm aware of it. And it's not like it's been up there for 13 years and nobody's looked at it. Okay? So sentimental stuff can be tough, but it's only tough because it makes you feel emotions. But here's the better thing, is to learn to feel emotions in a controlled environment. It's only you and the thing. You can cry when you see a photo. You can smile when you see a photo. What you learn about it is that emotions are like waves. Emotions are like rainstorms. For whatever reason, I'm using water as an example. But think about it. You're driving down the road on Route 66, and you see kind of an isolated rainstorm, and you're like, oh, going through that. I know I'm going to get wet. But in order for me to go through to that destination, Santa Monica Boulevard, Santa Monica Pier, I'm going to need to drive through this rainstorm. But the rainstorm is finite. You go in, you feel the feeling, it lasts for a minute or two, and then it passes. It's like the wave. It goes like this, and then it crashes, and it pulls back. And then at a certain point, you're not in the waves anymore. You can swim out. Now I've flipped from rain to the ocean, because that's how my brain works, and I love the ocean. When you've been at the ocean, when you're in the tumult all the time, that can be exhausting. What you can do is you can go out and hang out on the beach and recover, and then go back in. Or you can go past the emotions. You can get on the other side of those waves and just notice it a little bit, but not get caught up in the churn. And say, you know what, I'm going to feel some feelings, but it's okay. Feelings is part of this process. And if the feeling, maybe you just feel love all over the place. I loved my dad. He loved books. He loved hunting. He loved dogs. He got his college degree. I literally found his papers and the case studies from when he got his MBA in 1962, 3, 4, 5, 6. literally boxes of bound up things like that. He kept them. I don't know why. I love them anyway. I brought them to the dump. So you're going to feel feelings going through sentimental stuff. But I know we're talking about the sentimental stuff. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, my dad was an organized hoarder. So was mine, you know? Yeah, because somebody has a feeling. And the previous generations were not as okay with realizing that there was a neurological, like a nervous system and a mental component to this. They were like, I might use it someday. They grew up during the Depression. They maybe didn't have string, so man, are they keeping the string, you know? Yeah, when I came across many journals recording every penny he spent, I only kept one of them. Yeah, I did that too. My dad had a lot of stuff that just didn't need to be kept, you know? Okay, not knowing, Disney Mom is saying, not knowing where to get rid of it paralyzes me. Trophies and old laptops. Okay, I can help you with that. Okay, I can help you with that. First of all, trophies. I don't like trophies. I get them. I don't like them. I think they're a waste of space, but they are a societal thing, but it can be a struggle. What I would offer is seeing if the trophies you have can, like the little brass thing, be pulled off of it. You know, at a certain point, there may be some places you can look out in your, you know, what can I do with trophies? Maybe there's like I don't want to say Special Olympics, but maybe there's like a kid event that you could use your trophies. You could give them to them and then they could be handed out. They could be reused. Maybe you could donate them to a thrift store, and then maybe somebody there is going to buy one and use it as like a party favor, or somebody's decorating in a restaurant and they're looking for things like that. Maybe the person who won the trophies wants to keep them. Maybe they don't. There are things you can do with that. And then that also may be something that ends up in a landfill. You put it in the trash. It's up to you. I will say this. The amount of trash that you have in your house is probably so infinitesimal, so small compared to the giant corporations out there. Now, neither of them are right, but getting comfortable with putting things in the trash will help you feel better in your home. I had to, put a bunch of stuff in the trash this weekend because I didn't need it. My mother didn't want it. It wasn't recyclable. Now, the laptop, there are places you can go and get those wiped clean. This is where me doing coaching from people across the country, this is where Google is your friend, or whatever search engine is. What can I do with a laptop around here? Laptop recycling, electronics recycling. Do a Google. There's ways that you can rehome these things and feel good about them. There we go. Cat Mama said, I created a shelf dedicated to my dad with his trophies after dumping my books. Yeah, different things. Donate schools for plays. Plates from the trophies, yeah. It's all sorts of things. My husband, here's a funny thing. My husband is, we have a whole box of these trophies that he's won for songwriting and things like that. It's nothing, glamorous. It's like local stuff. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take one of them, because sometimes he won multiple awards per year. So I said, I'm going to make like the, what is that thing in hockey? Like the Stanley Cup, the Bruins with the Stanley Cup, is I'm going to make one like block that the one trophy goes on, and then we'll put the little things on it and make one of them that represents all that. In the meantime, they are just getting to be, it's like, oh, so rough, he won so many awards, but sometimes those things become too much, Yeah, this year I did accept that. It's okay to throw it out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had to, Cats, Coffee, and Cocktails, I got to share with you, I love throwing it away, but my 82-year-old significant mother questions everything. I need sneak bags away. Yeah, my 83-year-old mother, I was bringing stuff down from the attic, and she was starting to go through stuff. I'm like, Ma, you got to, and I literally said, first of all, I said, what are you doing? Because I knew, trust me, I know I am such a good, I'm not throwing away the good stuff. And at a certain point, I said to her, you are just going to have to trust me that I am making the right decision. That do not worry, I am not throwing away anything of value, monetary, sentimental. No, this is a bunch of random aging paper that's going to go to the recycles. It was tough for her. She was afraid. There was a fear. She was afraid I was getting rid of something important. There's trust and there's fear. And yeah, it can be maddening. Notice maybe you do sneak some things away. It's a different feeling when you know you're doing the right thing and you're doing that. Also, meeting people where they are. You know, there was a certain point where I was done, she was done, so baby steps. Yeah, working with a person. And if it's, I will say this, I am only working in that house now because in the last 3 years, my mother finally said, yeah, I think I could use some help. The 10 years prior to that, no, I'm good. I'm doing it myself. I got it. So notice if what you're doing is helping or hindering. Yeah. You know? Yeah, okay, so some of us have snuck bags away. We're not the only ones. You know, I had a bag and I literally said, I will take care of the stuff in this bag. I come downstairs, she had taken it out of the bag. I'm like, Ma, what are you doing? I said I would take care of it. Well, yeah, but I thought she was just trying to help. Looking at my mother through the eyes of love and saying she was just trying to help. And I said, well, you know what? Here, you will help me by allowing me to help you with that stuff. And I literally pulled it all, put it in the bag, and then I immediately put the bag in my car. You know? It's not like I was hiding anything. It's not like I was trying to sneak something away. I was feeling good about my energy behind it was clear. And so I could honestly say to my mother, and then she's like, well, what about this notebook? I said, oh, well, it was empty. I thought I could use it. Oh, okay. You know, she was fearful that I was doing something untoward. I know I wasn't, so I could go with a clear conscience and say, Mom, seriously, this bag is filled with like junk mail that I'm going to go through and call up the people, you know, but I need to keep track of who said that they would stop it and who keeps on going. Okay, Lady J is saying, what to do with a suitcase full of old Rolling Stone magazines? Oh my God, I had that. I've tried to sell them and no takers. How about giving them away? Selling is, if you're asking somebody, do you want it for money? That's a transaction. Somebody may say no. Put them out there for free. See if anybody wants them. The kids these days, they're into the vintage stuff. And sadly, our cool stuff is now vintage. So there might be some hip little kid, some 18 or 24-year-old who's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that, you know, the Police were on the copy, you know, the cover of that Rolling Stones from 1981 or whatever. Okay. Yeah. And notice Cat's Coffee and Cocktail says, I sneak stuff out of my trunk all the time. Garbage, but nothing good. But notice the fear that the older generation and even ourselves have. We're not immune to this. But notice the fear they have of letting go. I may need that someday. You're getting rid of something good. I need to cling on to that. I don't trust. You're letting go. It's fearful. It's scary to me to not have it because they get used to what's around them. It may not be a battle you're going to win, but you can work with that understanding when you understand the context. You know? There we go. Kitten Around 915 says, I try to sell some things, but if it doesn't sell within a short time, it goes into the donate bin. Yeah, can't hurt to ask for money, but if you don't get money for it, can you give it away? Can you throw it away? It's all about getting the stuff out of your home and your life that you don't want. Now, I just realized this is going on. I just realized I'm kind of looking, because I was in the zone. I've got about 10 minutes left of this TikTok live. If we're just meeting, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. I am Destination Decluttered here on TikTok, also on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. Not so much Facebook and Instagram, but maybe if TikTok changes. And I do these TikTok lives, but I also have a mailing list. And the mailing list is pretty cool. Just saying, there's a lot of free stuff on it. And the only thing that I ever charge for is I do one-on-one coaching on Zoom. So if you are here, it doesn't matter what state you are in. We just need to factor in the time zones. But I do one-on-one coaching. You can sign up for that on my mailing list. You can destinationdecluttered.com. All sorts of things. I'm here for you to help you with this stuff. And the great thing is because I only coach remotely like this, then you learn to do it yourself. You learn when you're stuck. I could come in and do it for you in a hot minute. The only person I do that for is my mother. Okay? I'm not digging around in your stuff because you know the stories. I don't know the stories of your things. You do. You have stories that are having you hold on to things. And if that's cool and you love the stuff, cool. But if you want to release it and you can't be a good story, coaching can help you with that, I think. All right. Yeah, her newest obsession is light bulbs. It's actually insane. Yeah, I had to ask my mother for light bulbs too. You know what? Here's the thing, sadly, okay? I will share this with you too. We as humans, our bodies physically change. Our brains will physically change, and it will affect the way we think. We may be those people when we are in our 80s. So why not start now and declutter your own self so you don't have to deal with this stuff when you're later? Okay. I love this. Erin is saying, Lady J, do you have any with Nirvana or on the cover or Fleetwood Mac? I'd buy it for my 18-year-old. See? Putting it out there that you've got something. You've maybe got a taker here. You know? I love it. Yeah, Hazel Eyes is saying, you got me busy yesterday. Cleaned out the fridge and the freezer in one cabinet. Cleaned it all up. Awesome. I hope that feels good. I hope that feels good, because that's the only reason I show up to do this. I don't show up to make your life miserable. No. I know how miserable I felt when I had too much stuff. Confused, overwhelmed, distracted, heavy. Ugh. When I started going through my stuff and feeling better about releasing what I didn't want and keeping what I did want and kind of getting the balance right, as Depeche Mode would say, I started feeling better. And when I was feeling better in my home, suddenly, and I love this, I had a client yesterday who literally was like, I just have to tell you, now that we're working in our second package, I'm really getting how what you're teaching me about clutter applies to so many other areas of my life. If that was just not music to my ears, because that's what it's all about. We start with your house, but then you'll see that we've got a text, got distracted. You will see that it's all to make you feel good. And we're here for such a short amount of time on the planet. I don't want you to spend any more time on the planet feeling crappy than you have to. The sooner you can stop feeling crappy, the sooner, and you know how to maintain that, you've got from then until, even just when you start coaching, you feel different. And then the rest of your life, you have a skill set. You have things you can do when you start to feel crappy. You take care of yourself. You love yourself. Okay? How do you get on the mailing list? Coach K is saying, destinationdecluttered.com is my website. You can go to the join page. Just put your email address in there. It's done. The other thing, too, is if you go to, and I'm just checking here to make sure the thing works. If you go to like the home page of my TikTok page where you go to follow me, if you could follow me on TikTok, that would be awesome. You can also see there, I have now pinned the schedule for the TikTok lives for like the next week or so. But also there's a URL there. It's destinationdecluttered.com/links. You go to there, that's like the one-stop shop of all the places. Like that's where you can sign up for the mailing list. You can sign up for coaching. You see where I am on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, and all that. So that's a thing, okay? Hope that helps. All right. So, can I secretly sign my mom up? You know what? You could, but it's not going to work. Cats, coffee, and cocktails. Here's the deal. I'm here for you. The people who have the clutter sometimes do not have the wherewithal to change. They don't want to. They're stuck in a rut of 50 or 60 years. However, I'm here for you. I can help you deal with your mom's stuff. I can help you deal with your stuff so you don't get in the same thing. I can help you build patience and love for her, to chunk down what you're doing for her, to feel good about where you're spending your time and energy with your clutter and your own home and your own life. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? You know? Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so here's an interesting, YouTube. Yeah, I have recorded TikTok lives, and people often put them on in the background while they're cleaning or decluttering. So the way I declutter, I didn't get a lot into like technical stuff today because we talked a lot about emotional, like the sentimental stuff. But with the way I coach, I like to think of clutter as 3 levels. You've got surface, stored, and sentimental. So the surface clutter is just, as I said, it's like paper. It's the stuff that's on the surfaces. That's the stuff that you can go around and I'm kind of chatting in the background and you can deal with that stuff. The maintenance and doing those things. Okay, yep, it works. The stored clutter, you're going to need to listen to your own stories. So getting used to listening to yourself and asking yourself the question, what is this thing? Why do I have it? Not in a judgy way, in a curious way. Why do I have this? Do I want it anymore? If I want it, then where does it go? Where's a better home for it than maybe where it is now? And if I don't want it, what's a better place for me? Where's an easy way for me to get it out of my house? And it's lather, rinse, repeat. I love it. Miss Julie is even saying, you know, I appreciate you so much, Beth. My mindset about life is that it's doable now. Thank you. It is, you guys. Once we calm down our nervous system, we can be all out of whack. Trust me, I know what it's like to be aggravated. I snapped at my mother at one point this weekend because I knew I was just kind of at the end of my rope. I apologized and then we moved on. But when you are feeling better emotionally, when you are feeling better nervous system-y, When you're feeling better in your heart and your head, you're going to do better. You're going to speak better. You're going to take action. You're going to have more patience and less frustration. You're going to be slow to burn and quick to recover. All sorts of good stuff. Cats and Company, I'm going to sign up. Do you suggest garage sale or just get it out immediately? I suggest you do what you feel is right, because there's really no wrong way to do this. What's the easiest way for you to get your stuff out of the house that feels good to you? Now, I've done garage sales, and sometimes they are fun, and other times it felt like a lot of work for very little effort. But I did it, and then I did other things with the stuff that didn't sell. The immediacy, I want you to pay attention. Everybody, I want you to pay attention to the pace with which you are decluttering, because I want that to be feeling good in your nervous system. Immediately and right away and all that stuff, to me, gives a sense of speeding, a sense of urgency that can be good, but also it could be like, I'm just going to speed till I get there, but you may be missing some things along the way. I would rather you take a little bit more time, treat it like a road trip, and find a comfortable cruising speed. So you're not just like a trucker on trucker speed, and you're also not kind of pooping along in the slow lane. You're pooping along in the slow lane until we can get you comfortable enough to get, to merge into, the middle lane, where you're just like, okay, I'm in a groove. This feels good. I'm flying along. I'm making good time, and I'm enjoying the scenery, and I'm pulling over when I want to. If you're in the high speed lane, you're always like this, and then somebody's behind you, and I gotta hurry. How do you get rid of photo albums and medical records? Medical records, I would say shred them or get them shredded. How do you get rid of photo albums? Pull out the good photos you like, keep those, and then throw the rest in the trash. Share them with the people who are in the photos. Share them with the people in your family, your friends. There are ways you can do it. Yeah. Okay. Now I've got like 2 minutes now, so I'm going to sign off. I will be back tomorrow with a TikTok live. It's going to be at a different time. Yeah, tomorrow's at noon time. Now I'm East Coast, so when I say the times, it's East Coast. But notice that you're not alone. There are hundreds of people here. That you're not the only person struggling with clutter. We're all in this together. I have found a way that made it easier for me. I learned through trial and error, but I have a system that I share with you that's simple, easy, repeatable, lather, rinse, repeat. And I love to show up and share it with you so you can use it to make your life better, okay? Sign up for the mailing list if you want. We've got a whole bunch of cool stuff going on. We got a free Zoom coming up on the 16th. And show up for a TikTok live. Sign up for one-on-one coaching. If we could seriously start to coach this week, later on this week. If we had our consultation this week, we could start next week. And then by July, 10 weeks of concentrated decluttering with supervision and encouragement and problem solving, being not alone while you're decluttering because I'm your coach. Oh my gosh, your summer is going to feel so different. But it's up to you. You do the thing that makes you feel comfortable, but think about how you want your life to be. And if it's not that way, the sooner you start changing it, the sooner you're living the life you want. Okay? I get a scoot. I have a day of coaching and consultations, but I wish you the best. I will see you tomorrow. And yeah, drive your life. Drive your life in the direction of your dreams, in the direction of your destination, decluttered. All right?